Welcome to DotLife, Dorchester's hyperlocal podcast with news, content, and analysis. We are talking about several different topics today, but we're going to start here with Bill Forry, Dorchester Reporter. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Good to have you.
It's a pleasure. I've heard a lot about you.
So, how's your weekend?
The weekend was wonderful. We had a great family time, and it's been like a few days now, so I got to recreate it in my head. I think we just kind of hung out. It was a Lower Mills weekend. We spent some time doing like yard work, cleanup, and the neighbors probably were about to start protesting my lawn. So.
Don't tell me you have a leaf blower.
I do, but I don't need a leaf blower right now. I just need that lawnmower and the hedge clippers and everything else, and long sleeves because we have poison ivy in the hedges.
Oh, no.
And it gets me every year.
Oh, I've never had it. My mom gets it terribly.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. It's not a pleasant experience, and it's very contagious.
Yuck. Ugh.
Anyways, it went fine. Everybody got out unscathed. And how about your weekend?
I was back home in the Buffalo area. My grandparents celebrated 70 years anniversary. So,
wow.
Yeah, kind of wild.
Impressive.
Yeah.
How was the party?
It was great. It was on a lake. A lot of people I didn't know. So it was fun. And then they're both turning 90 this year too. So it was a big thing.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. Do you have any peas left in your garden?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about peas. I'm very mad that I'm competing with wildlife and I'm losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, get down to the farmer's market Friday afternoon.
Yeah, right? I will do that at Greater Ashmont. I might also check out a couple of new restaurants.
I was going to say, that might be on the list too. We have two front page stories on new ventures, one of which is just open on Wednesday. There was a soft opening for a couple of days, but it's the first retail space that's open in the Dot Block complex on Dorchester Avenue. And it's called the Dot Diner and More. Dot Block Diner and More.
Okay.
And it's a project started by Bernie Goodman, who people in Savin Hill especially will know, in South Boston. Started McKenna's Cafe back in the day.
Savin Hill Ave?
Savin Hill Ave.
Okay.
And he has been, he started that project. He no longer is involved in McKenna's, although his daughter works there. Bernie has been living in Florida. He grew up in Southie, and he's a longtime Savin Hill guy and merchant, and has been working for the last couple of years to get this diner open.
I love a good diner.
I think you're really going to enjoy this place,
Yeah.
Erin. I think I know your taste a little bit now. There's a lot of Dot gas tank ephemera in the decor, along with a lot of Hollywood film posters, because his brother, Bernie's brother, Brian, is an actor. And
really,
people will recognize him from different films as well as television series.
Brian Goodman, is that the name?
Brian Goodman. Look him up on
You're going to make me Google
IMDb.
live.
I know. He's in a surprising number of film going back to the 1990s. The first credit I saw on his list is one that I saw way back in the day, a Donnie Wahlberg production called Southie, which was, maybe not the most auspicious start to a career, but hey, he started somewhere, and he's been doing very well, including being in some of the one of the Fast and Furious movies.
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. He played apparently the hotel manager in Catch Me If You Can. And he's been in a TV adaptation of Fatal Attraction most recently on a TV series. But he also created his own film or directed and wrote his own film about his life growing up in Southie, sort of, on the wrong side of the tracks. It's almost like the Southie's version of The Town, actually.
Yeah,
like
nice.
Armored car bank robberies going on and stuff. Huge poster of that film in the lobby of, or in the dining room, actually, of the Dot Block Diner. But enough about Brian, because he's had...
We'll have him on for another segment.
He's had plenty of publicity, and will. His brother Bernie and his team have created this really cool space. And it's only about 45 seats, I think.
Oh, that's...
So it's cozy,
intimate, yeah.
And so is McKenna's, but it works, and it's a popular breakfast and lunch spot, obviously, and I think this will be too. Dot Block, remember, opened, the residences there opened in 2023 in the summer, a couple of years ago now, and we're just now getting our first retail on the ground level. It's been a long time. We've been wondering.
Why? Do you know?
I think part of it was negotiations over rent and costs and the build outs. But there are now 3 tenants, either open like the diner is now, or they're going to open in the next year or so.
Okay. I heard Chilicates is opening a location there. That's cool.
Chilicates is opening a location in Dorchester. And for folks who don't know it, it's they have a couple locations. There's one in Jamaica Plain.
They've got like 15 now. They have exploded, but they started in JP in like 2017 maybe, and then suddenly they were everywhere.
So they're finally coming our way.
Tacos and such. Yeah.
It's going to be a cantina.
Yeah.
Is the branding around it. So they'll
Wait, does that mean alcohol?
It does. They have a full liquor license that they just secured in the last month. So they're one of several that received liquor licenses in the latest round, including Milkweed on Morrissey, which they're not active with it yet, but they will be soon.
Okay.
And then the other one is Sweet Teas, which is a bakery, which is owned by Teresa Maynard and her family. They've been making and catering events for 4 or 5 years now since she launched the business, and this is her first bricks and mortar on Dorchester Ave. So the 3 tenants in the ground level.
And those 2 are not open yet?
They're not open yet. They're still doing the build out there.
Okay.
And I think actually Chilicantes is a little further behind Sweet Teas. But Dot Block Diner open for business on Wednesday. I stopped in there today with my daughter briefly. We didn't have a chance to sit down and eat, but the space is amazing. Bernie's a really friendly guy who gave us a quick tour, and the decor is really interesting. It's kind of got an industrial feel.
Okay.
It's kind of a long space rather than a wide space, and there are some nice nooks and crannies there for seating, a little bit more private spaces in towards the back. And as I mentioned, this Hollywood decor, which is pretty fun and has a lot of local tie-ins, some beautiful woodwork and painted woodwork with the rainbow swash gas tank featured in several spots, and just a really nice welcoming space. So
who's a big McKenna's fan? Is friend of the pod Bill Walczak. So I bet we'll see him at the Dot House.
No doubt. And I think you're going to see tons of people. We had a lot of initial, like a crush of comment and feedback right away. Whenever we post something about any restaurant opening, it's like goes viral. But they have an interesting breakfast and lunch menu, which is kind of extensive, actually, as you might expect for a diner, and a heavy waffle emphasis on the breakfast side. Waffle. So I think they're trying to fill a niche there. I don't know a lot of like waffle spots.
Is Belgian waffles like the thick waffles?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that's
a variety of waffles.
After sushi, maybe they can do sushi too, and then we'll have a rounded.
I'll connect you with Bernie. He's I think looking for ideas.
Okay,
but go check it out. It's open for breakfast and lunch right now. And I found a spot, by the way, if you're driving there, I found a spot right on Dorchester Ave, right in front of the place. So don't get scared off. Sometimes Freeport Street, Dorchester Ave can be a scary place for traffic, and I get that. Pick your times, but it's going to be, I think, a hit.
Well, if you don't want to go there, there's other options.
We do have another new pop-up. This is a cafe in Upham's Corner on Dudley Street, which Upham's Corner doesn't really have anything like this, so it's very cool that they're doing it. It's called Cafe Blue, and it's inside Dahlia's Garden, which is a florist shop in Upham's Corner, right on Dudley Street. Just as if you're going like into Roxbury before you get to the bridge at Upham's Corner Station, it's right on that block.
Okay.
And it's a mother-daughter team who've started it. It's actually the woman who runs Dahlia's Garden is hosting them. So it's a partnership between the existing garden florist shop and this mother-daughter team. Willel Daniel and her daughter, I'm always going to zone on her first name.
Angelica?
Angelica.
Daniel, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's Seth Daniel's daughter and wife. And
so she has the force too. Wow.
Yeah, the force is strong with this group. They've just started in the last couple of weeks. So the concept here is pop-up cafe. They have Friday and Saturday hours only right now, but they're thinking they might grow that beyond. They'll see how it goes. My wife Linda and I stopped in again. We dragged our daughter Madeline along with us, and we had a great test run with them a couple weekends ago.
Madeline's hair looks on point in this photo, by the way.
She just got it braided. She's very proud of it, and you can't tell from the photo because now she She has the look on her face like, I just got my hair done. She looks good. She does.
She does look good.
So she had lemonade. They serve teas and lattes, and they also do obviously coffee. And the cool thing about the coffee is, and Willella and her family are from Haiti originally, and this is Haitian coffee beans that they've sourced through a vendor, and they did an extensive national search for this bean. I know that because Seth has told me about it, and they found a vendor who's this is imported bean from Haiti. And that's pretty cool. They've incorporated the Haitian themes into the menu and into the decor of the place. And if have you been to Dahlia's Garden, the flower shop?
No.
It's not very big, but it's very very cute, very well appointed, and she's a terrific florist. She's done some family events that we've done, including some proms recently. She did beautiful boutonnieres and corsages for our son's events, and she's just a lovely person and a very talented florist. And she had always wanted to have a coffee spot as part of her business. And Willel and Angelica brought this idea to her, and it just works well. So I'd encourage people to check it out. It's open this weekend. It's Fridays and Saturdays, and their plan is to continue that through the summer.
Okay.
And see what the market's
like.
like.
And it has an actual mini VW bus in there? Is that right?
There's that's the replica VW bus that's been painted, and sort of the Daniels have done their magic to this item, which they secured. And I understand there was some difficulty getting it through the door of Dahlia's Garden, but they succeeded. They've painted it, and it's intended to be reminiscent of a top, which in Haiti is like the public transit system. It's kind of a bus you hop on and hop off of, and they're very colorful and
Seth probably had one in his attic.
Yeah, I don't know how big this man's attic is, but between the basement and the attic, he's got
the Lion,
stuff.
the Witch, and the Wardrobe thing where you just go into another dimension.
Yeah, it's a very cute spot, and highly recommend.
Very cool. Another development, entertainment-focused development that's happening. I think this is new this week.
Russell Auditorium.
Yep,
it's on Talbot Ave. People may know it as it's a function hall and a.
I got my COVID vax there.
Oh yeah, I got one of mine there too. Yeah. Codman was using it as a satellite. You're right. Many people have been there over the years for family events and political events, all sorts of functions. It's also known as the Carver Den because that's the name of the lodge that owns the building and runs it. And it's been there for many years, I think back into the 1960s, in one ownership or another. And the current membership of the Carver Lodge have applied for an entertainment license and something that would allow them to have events there.
Which they already do, but they use the one-time
They have to get one-day licenses. So this would be an entertainment license for, I think, up to 800 people for big events and weddings, etc. So that's going before the licensing board. I think they may have already had one hearing. I think it's still up for discussion. And there is some resistance from some neighbors who are worried because there's just been a major liquor license and entertainment license granted to El Punta, which is a new restaurant,
just down the street,
function hall at the corner of Talbot and Blue.
Yeah.
So not too far away. But Russell Auditorium's been there a long time, and as you mentioned, already have events and have a history of running events. So I suspect they will be successful here.
Now, is there a reno planned, or is it just to keep this existing building able to host?
I don't believe there's a major renovation planned at this point. No, this is just to kind of allow for more events to happen in the neighborhood.
Okay, very cool. Well, we'll keep our eyes on whether or not that happens. We have also got some news from not Dorchester, Seaport, but involves a storied Dorchester influencer, Mr. Tom Menino.
Pretty big influencer citywide in his career. Yeah, we went to this event on Saturday, Erin. That's one of the things I was trying to remember when you asked me at the beginning of the show. It was an event-packed week. But the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center, which Tom Menino was instrumental and really, credited with bringing to Boston and back in the 1990s when he was
there just Heinz back then?
It was just the Heinz, and there were other smaller convention center. The Bayside Expo Center was one of them, obviously, but that was privately held. The public one was strictly the Heinz, and obviously that still exists, but it has a smaller capacity. The BCEC, which is now the Thomas M. Menino Exhibition Center, is the major one. And on Saturday, there was about 1,000 people who gathered in the lobby of the building for the renaming and unveiling of the new signage in front of the building. Mayor Wu was essentially the keynote speaker, along with the Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll, and other dignitaries, Congressman Lynch, people like Chairman of Ways and Means, Aaron Mikowitz, who worked for Tom Menino, and a lot of Team Menino people from his era, many of whom, of course, are still active in city and state politics and have become major figures in their own right, like Mayor Wu. And they spoke about how Tom Menino really led the charge to get this facility sited, built, funded, and had to withstand a lot of criticism for doing so. And I think it was interesting to note how often during the ceremony it came up about the naysayers and the skeptics and his political opponents and media foes too, or at least critics, who were really kind of nonstop questioning the wisdom of building this facility, quarreling with the money, the financial investment, but whether or not it was a good idea to build a facility which really is and was intended to be world class and to put Boston on a different stage. Menino, to his credit, and they played the interview clips at this event to kind of reinforce this, was like, no, you gotta have the vision to see this, not only for the convention center but for that neighborhood that's developed around it, the Seaport District, which does have its critics in terms of its maybe its density or exactly, its streetscapes or the urban design elements, not all of which have anything to do with Tom Menino's decision making, but some of it does. But you can't really quarrel with the fact that this is a huge new neighborhood of the city that's been a boom.
And it has its promoters. Some people love it.
I think so. Yeah, there's plenty of people who have settled there, and that's their neighborhood. There's a beautiful park there, by the way, that does have a Dorchester connection, Martin's Park, which is dedicated to Martin Richard, and his family built a beautiful park there on the waterfront, not far from what's now the Menino Center. But I was struck by how often this theme came up of having the vision and having the political capital and the will to use it to build a major project like that.
What does that remind you of?
It reminds me a lot about White Stadium.
Well, as you know, our interview segment today for this episode is all about White Stadium. So we'll dig into that much deeper.
That was completely
accidental. Thank you for the segue.
That was not a setup. But it was really cool to be in the room with all these folks who worked for Tom Menino. It was nice to hear his voice again. They would play the interviews and to see him again. And his daughter, Susan Menino Fenton, spoke eloquently and passionately at the end of the ceremony about her dad's memory and how much they miss him. And we all do. And honestly, we didn't always see eye to eye. And certainly there were flare-ups during his 20-plus years where the reporter and Tom Menino, we'd have our differences, or he didn't like something we wrote or whatever. You know what I mean? So there were bumps in the road. But, looking back, he was just a faithful steward of the public's trust and was really well-intentioned and meaning in how he delivered for the city. And he really was a landmark and a historic mayor for Boston. So it was nice to see him get his just rewards and for his family to be able to, including his grandkids who are gotten quite big, to see them again. It was really a nice event for the city.
I missed the Menino Association administration. I was not here for that, but I've seen his presence many, many times, and the folks that I know who didn't live here during that hold him in pretty high regard.
He died in 2015, and it doesn't feel like it's been that long. It's been 10 years, but I was reading back at our coverage when he did pass, and it's funny, we wrote lots and lots of articles that week about his legacy, and we never mentioned the BCEC in our coverage because, we had so much else to write about, So this building does serve as a monument to him, but it really encapsulates so much more that he accomplished in his career. So salute to him.
I want that to be the struggle when I pass too. But there's so much that I did that they can't fit it all in.
Exactly. We'll have to have the whole special edition.
That's right. We also have actually pretty recently broken news. I think this broke today, which is Wednesday that we're recording, about another larger-than-life political figure who is former President Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. will be given a Lifetime Achievement Award.
He's coming to Dorchester in October.
Last time he came to Dorchester, he caused a lot of traffic.
Well, we need a few months. We need a few months warning to let everyone know. Former President Biden will be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from the EMK Institute, the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the U.S. Senate. It's going to happen October 26th. It's a Sunday at the EMK Center, obviously on Columbia Point. He will be joined at the event by his former Secretary of Labor, Martin J. Walsh, who will also be receiving an award from the EMK for his career in public service. There'll be other people honored at the event as well, but President Biden's it'll be a big deal, and that's their annual dinner in October. So that's what's coming up.
Nice. I can't think of someone who deserves it more. Whether or not you agreed with his politics or his administration, the man devoted his entire life to public service.
He's the second major national political figure to get an award on Columbia Point this year. Do you know who the other one was? He was a Republican. Profile and Courage Award. Mike Pence. Mike Pence was at the JFK Library for, I think it was in May, for their May dinner, receiving the Profile and Courage Award. So
moving along.
Yeah. So we get the other end of the spectrum, perhaps, and coming up. So yeah, mark your calendars for that. And congrats to Secretary Walsh, our neighbor, who will also be honored that day with his former boss.
Very cool. We're going to end on a slightly less upbeat note. Counselor Fitzgerald, friend of the pod, has put forward a plan around the mass incass situation, and that involves a regional approach to dealing with the drug use epidemic and the unhoused people.
Right.
What you guys wrote about it? You covered it this week.
Yeah, Chris Lovett wrote a very in-depth piece this week for us about the mass incass issue and where things kind of stand at the moment, which I'd have to say, just in the last couple of months, it's really crystallized again as a crisis issue for the city. The public health commissioner, who you've also had on the pod, Dr. Ojikutu, acknowledged in the last couple of weeks that the drug use epidemic, really the approach to it, has been a failure, and that's been well documented and kind of moved around.
Can you do me a favor, as someone who moved here right as the bridge was closing, can you set the picture of what it was like when the bridge was open? Was it not?
It wasn't as concentrated in the mass incass area. So because the Long Island shelter, which was a place that folks could be temporarily housed or sleep overnight and seek services, when that was open on Long Island, it was a pretty efficient way for folks to be treated and also
it wasn't
cared
the
for.
Most easy to get to, even with the bridge, right?
You had to take a bus, and people would assemble at various points in the city, but especially in the Boston Medical Center area, to get on buses and go there in the evenings to spend the night there. But it was that's what made a difference. When that bridge was closed and ultimately demolished for structural reasons, this is under Marty Walsh's first term, I believe, it was very disruptive to the recovery programming in the city and to the homeless situation. So that was a triggering event. And as you mentioned, it was 10 years ago this summer when that happened. And the resulting sort of number of years has seen that concentration of people encamped often in the area around Atkinson Street for a period. That was demolished and tents were cleared, et cetera, now 2 years ago. But the problem persists, obviously. And I will note, and Dr. Ojikutu of the BPHC has noted too, fortunately we have seen a decline, according to city statistics, in opioid-related deaths in 2024. They were down significantly, 38%.
Across the country, actually. The Times had a story this week about that. Meth has become the new problem drug. Not that it wasn't a problem before, but deaths from meth are more common than opioids because of drugs like Narcan, being able to help treat that.
And in Boston, and the other interesting stat that came out this year about opioid deaths in recent years is that the zip code in Boston that had the highest number of fatalities was 02124 in Dorchester. It had 71 deaths in I believe it was between 2021 and 2023. And, that may be surprising to people, but we clearly have across the city and in our own neighborhood a drug abuse and opioid especially related death issue. Cobbin Square Health Center, we wrote about that this week as well. Seth did. They're proposing to put a Narcan vending machine on their campus because that problem is not, obviously we all know this, it's not just contained to Mass and Cass.
Right.
It tends to be a magnet though. And what Councillor Fitzgerald is proposing, he's asked for a hearing of the City Council. He wants to create a regional approach to this matter, to bring other cities and towns in, kind of a mutual aid situation, the way we might have for a fire emergency.
Well, there's a statement in here in your article, the paper's article. I know you didn't write this one.
Right.
I can't remember who said it, but I think it was John who said, we all know that many of these people are not from Boston. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
So why are they there?
Sometimes they're actually transported there by other municipalities because they know that they can get services here in Boston. And that's John Fitzgerald's point. It's also the point of Representative John Moran, who represents that part of the city, the South End neighborhood, but he also has parts of Dorchester. They've put together a working group along with the Newmarket Square Association, other stakeholders in that community have been so hard hit for years now. And there's obviously been other proposals, too, from people like Josh Kraft, who's obviously running for office. Steve Tompkins, the sheriff in Suffolk County, has proposed using some of his jail facility to help with the situation. But what John Fitzgerald in particular is saying is, look, whether it's a fund or if it's just like a mutual aid agreement that we're not just going to sort of warehouse and really dump people into Boston to try to broom that issue into our city. Yeah, he wants that dealt with at that level, and I think he is lining up some allies. John Moran obviously is a state lawmaker. It's an uphill climb, and this is just the beginning because he's only asked for a hearing. He hasn't really put together a comprehensive hearing proposal. It's like, let's just discuss this idea. Bring in the state officials who we need as partners to get the resources, especially, money's part of it, but especially to get their buy-in.
Well, and I also think that money, yes, is step one, but part of the problem is there's nowhere to take them, that the community around them won't have outrage for potentially reasonable reasons. But so even if you have the money, if you can't build a facility or you can't put people somewhere for treatment,
no doubt. That's come up. And Chris Lovett in this article today does a good job of documenting that. There have been proposals, for example, to reuse the Shattuck Hospital and Jamaica Plain Roxbury line. That's been really controversial. It's still an open question what's going to happen with the Shattuck. We understand there may be some movement on that soon. It's something we're working on.
It's a BMC property now, right?
BMC has a role with that. Yes, definitely. But it's ultimately a state decision because it is state-owned, and that's a Governor Healy issue. Yeah. So there's more to come on this, but check out this article Chris Lovett did, as comprehensive of a job as you can do in one story to try to outline the history here, but also what could be the next steps.
And we're going to have more about this.
For sure.
Yeah.
Chris would be a great guest to have on, actually, to talk about this.
Yeah, let's do it. What else? What's coming up next week?
Well, this weekend we have the Jazz Festival that's at Mary Hannon Park. I know Fred Hammond, you had him on last.
Fred Woodard, yeah.
Fred Woodard, sorry. That there's going to be, I think, an afternoon of jazz at Mary Hannon Park. So check that out.
His band, man, they're cool.
They're very cool. Yeah. Family. It's a family affair.
Mostly family, yeah.
I can kind of understand and vibe with that. But yeah, we have that. We have a lot of new businesses to talk about next week too on Blue Hill Avenue. Next week we're going to really be focusing on some interesting startup businesses, including a pretty cool vintage boutique that's now open on Blue Hill Avenue.
Oh, nice.
So I think you'll dig it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to you then.
See you then.